God bless you. We already got people in the chat. Yeah, you guys were awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate you guys waiting. A lot to get through from yesterday. Lot to cut. More than I thought I'd have to cut up from yesterday. I was watching Nick Sirianni and Jeffrey Lurie's press conferences yesterday at the owners' meetings, and I know the big story for everybody is the tush push. Tush push and torpedo bats. Who would have thought? But anyway, that's what the conversation's been this week. But I'm watching Nick Sirianni and Jeffrey Lurie yesterday, and there's a lot of great stuff that came out of it. And my overall takeaway for Lurie is the fact that this, like, how many times have we seen Jeffrey Lurie speak since he's on the Eagles for, 25 years now? How many? Almost 30? How many times have we seen him speak and go, counterintuitive, emotional intelligence, open your heart, gold standard, like all this. And we just look at him and go, what are you talking about? And this is even after they won their first Super Bowl. So now they got two in their back pocket, and the Eagles' dominant play, the tush push, is on trial. And yesterday, for 36 minutes, Jeffrey Lurie dazzled. Like, absolutely dazzled. Now, I've made reference to Josh Harris. Like, how could anyone ever watch that guy talk and then go, let me give this man $1 billion? You know what I mean? Like, whatever. Like he's not a very convincing person, at least not in the settings that an NBA owner is in. But I'm watching Jeffrey Lurie yesterday, and I'm just like, this guy is dropping knowledge on the NFL and teams that are even thinking about, teams that won to, and then teams that are even thinking about taking away this play that the Eagles have found a way to master, more so by far than anyone in the NFL. He brought up, in reference to the tush push, people saying aesthetically it's not pleasing. It looks like it's a rugby play. It's not a football play. Jeffrey Lurie's like, yeah, the forward pass was weird too. And I'm like, my man. Like, I even went back and was like, okay, Newt Rockne and forward pass, and 1886 a forward pass was recorded. That's far back than even the football happened. But anyway, it was just absolutely bonkers. And Jeffrey Lurie is dropping this information yesterday during the owners' meetings, during his press conference. And he also talked about the safety. I'll let you hear how he talked about the safety issue of it. Like, we're not going to run a play if it's not safe. And what play in football is safe? The kneel down? Other than that, nothing. So what are we doing here? Are we playing football or are we not playing football? Do the rules say you can push someone in a pile? Yes, you can. So what are we doing? You're creating the pile. That's all you're doing. People say you get hurt during it. No, you're not. Well, I don't like how it looks. Shut up. Jeffrey Lurie's arguments yesterday, if you want to call them that, more rebuttals to an argument, were things of beauty. And it was one of the first times, if not the first time, I looked at him and went, that's our owner right there. That's the guy that runs the Philadelphia Eagles. I absolutely loved it. He even put in a, I trust Howie when he was talking about the offseason. It was great. I think for any Eagles fan, if you're not a press conference person, which is amazing how much of press conference people we are in Philadelphia. I don't know who to credit or blame for that. Maybe Andy Reid. I don't know. But we pay attention to this stuff. And yesterday, I thought Jeffrey Lurie absolutely dazzled. He talked about the whole philosophy of not signing your young players. You don't have a chance to compete. He said that this was one of the most brilliant things. And I want to make sure I give this proper context because it's kind of come out as Jeffrey Lurie has just called the 2024 Eagles the greatest team ever. Not necessarily is how it went down. It might sound like that, but I'll give you the full context of it. It basically comes down to what we've all talked about in this offseason, which is, are you as good a team as you were when you walked off the field? Assuming through the draft and assuming Sidney Brown, let's just say he's your starting safety right now, assuming they're at least not Pro Bowlers, not really good players, but assuming they're average, whatever you bring in, you've taken a step back from last year. I think most people, myself included, are assuming that going into the season. So how do you compare yourself to the Super Bowl team that you just were? Because obviously a lot of players have left. And Jeffrey Lurie's reaction to it, and I'll let you hear the full thing. Jeffrey Lurie's reaction to it was amazing. Jeffrey Lurie's reaction to it was, well, I like to think of it more so, how could you be better than what we were? In other words, when he walked off the field in New Orleans at the Super Bowl, and he came down for the podium, trophy in hand, this is as good as it gets. He even referenced the, what he's 16-1, including the postseason, that the Eagles went on this run after the bye week. 16-1. Nothing was going to get better. A 10-game winning streak. The only game that they lost was a game that Jalen Hurts got concussed, left the game, and Kenny Pickett put the ball in the hands of Devontae Smith, and the more often than not, by far, sure-handed receiver dropped it. They complete that play. They complete that pass. You're talking about 17-game win streak or 16-game win streak into 17-game win streak into the Super Bowl. And then you dominate in the Super Bowl. This is what we're talking about here. Yeah, it's going to be hard. I said it last year. During the season, before they made the playoffs, before they clinched the playoffs, before they won the Super Bowl, before they won the Super Bowl, they say Super Bowl. Before they did that, they went out there and were just clicking on all cylinders. And I said, especially with Saquon Barkley on this offensive line, I know this is weird to say in the midst of it all, but this is going to be history. This is going to be historic. Saquon hitting his stride behind this offensive line, Jalen playing as well as he was playing up until the Panthers game, and then the whole passing game, what the hell, and then they bounced right back. This is going to be historic. Enjoy it. We're not going to get this. And I thought Zach Bond summed up the whole thing as to how great this team was after the NFC Championship game, and he said, this is where we're supposed to be. Does it feel real, I think was the question, and Zach Bond was like, this feels like exactly where we're supposed to be. And I got to say, as you know, nobody, as somebody who doesn't play for the team, work for the team, I 100% agree. This season went beautifully, like almost as scripted after the bye week. It would have been next to impossible to be better. And hearing the owner acknowledge that fact and actually agree with it and not roll my eyes at it like I did at the Gold Standard all those years ago, it was perfection. And yesterday, I thought for 36 minutes, Jeffrey Lurie just dropped knowledge on the NFL. The Eagles' overall plans in the offseason, the Eagles' overall strategy, acknowledging what makes or breaks you as an NFL team. Look, he opened up, I don't know how long it was, 90 seconds, maybe 2 minutes. He opened up talking about the people that we never talk about. Just random. If you're an employee of the Philadelphia Eagles, you have to love the first 90 seconds of Jeffrey Lurie's speech yesterday because he talked about everybody. I mean, he didn't mention them by names, but like departments. Like, it's incredible. He's like, you guys only see like the 53 or the 70 men that will compete to be on the roster and all that, but and the coaches, of course. But there are so many people behind the scenes that you don't even know about. Like, I think he was even acknowledging the laundry team. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And he just highlighted everything about what it took to win a Super Bowl. It was beautiful. And I'm like, that's nice that these people are getting their due. You know, they're getting acknowledged for their contribution. And then, as you would assume, when he got asked about the tush push, he was not only just defending it, but defending it beautifully. I'm like, I might have him represent me if I ever need representation in the court of law. Yes, my attorney, Mr. Lurie, will handle this. Isn't he a movie producer? A two-time Super Bowl champion. Thank you very much. And he also said the thing that we all want to hear from Jeffrey Lurie about winning your second Super Bowl. How does it compare to winning your first? And he said, what's really amazing is how much you just won a third. And I was like, that's my man. All right. I don't think I've ever said that. Jeffrey Lurie, that's my man. That's what I was saying yesterday. I was like, good for you. This is all the stuff that Philadelphia Eagles fans want to hear. They already know that their team is in pretty good hands right now with an owner that will sign checks of great exorbitance and a general manager that knows where to put that money. So it was great. I highly recommend. It's a great listen. I watched it. I like to watch to make get the facial. I feel you get every ounce of context when you watch. Nick Sirianni addressed media yesterday as well for about a half hour, a little more. There's one name that popped up when he was asked about leadership. It's been a question on this Eagles defense. Who's going to be a leader on this defense after Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, And even Darius Slay, before he was officially no longer an Eagle, he got in that little bit of controversy of not mentioning Chauncey Gardner-Johnson as a leader. Maybe Darius Slay. Maybe he knew that GJ wasn't going to be here again. So when it came to who's going to be a leader, he mentioned Reed Blankenship. That was the first name Slay mentioned. For Nick Sirianni, when he was asked about the leadership role, he said, we got a lot of candidates to fill that role, but the first name he mentioned was Nolan Smith. Nolan Smith as a leader on defense. I'm here for it, and I could see it. And I know that a lot of people look at the leaders as guys that probably should lead by example more than anything. Well, sometimes guys need that little kick in the ass. And maybe Nolan Smith is that guy. He talks enough, according to Nick Sirianni. We'll let you hear from him on that. Also, the celebration is over. Kind of tough to say that if you're Nick Sirianni, and then in your very next sentence say, well, we got our ring celebration, our ring ceremony. But other than that, the celebration's over. All right, good. He also had some interesting things to say about Kellen Moore's relationship with Kevin Patullo and how that was last year. We'll get into that. And to crush this for a lot of people, the safety position, there was nobody that jumped out. Again, same thing as the leadership answer. There's a lot of candidates that could be the next starting safety next to Reed Blankenship. He also talked about Cooper DeJean's versatility. Is Cooper staying in the inside? Oh, Cooper, played great in the inside. He was great. It was a lot of, typical coach speak whenever it came to anything that had to do with position groups. I was hoping for, I wasn't betting on, hey, Nick, what do you think about Sidney Brown's next safety? Well, Sidney's our leading candidate right now. It's his job to lose, so to speak, or it's his job to run with it. Wasn't expecting it. Would have liked to hear it. Or even Tristan McCollum. It's his job right now. It's his job to lose, or his job to win and run with it. It's his opportunity. Didn't get that. Tyler Steen at right guard. It's no, they didn't get the previous two hypothetical answers I just gave for Tyler Steen either. Nobody. The only guy that got any sort of ringing endorsement really was Nolan Smith as a leader, just because he was the first name. Back to Cooper DeJean as far as who's going to play on the outside. He talked about Cooper DeJean being great on the inside, but he's versatile. It's that versatile thing. That's funny. Not ruling out anything is what I got out of that. And then when it came to Nick Sirianni, the tush push question and answer is exactly what you've heard. It's exactly what you've read about. Exactly what you've heard him say before. It's exactly what you would expect from the Eagles head coach. I understand it's being talked about yesterday, and maybe that's why there's so many cameras here. That's what Nick said. But it's just a play that they continue to coach and continue to pay a lot of attention to and continue to have success with. So, yesterday, I am what the hell? I was running errands yesterday. I was at Costco, as a matter of fact. And I get the alert on my phone. I think it was from Adam Schefter, saying that the tush push has been tabled. And right when I saw that, the nice lady giving out the samples and everything, Sylvia, shout out Sylvia, right? She always stops me to talk sports, right? Or I say hello to her and we talk sports. She goes, Mark, what does it mean when they're tabling the tush push? And I was like, oh, we'll talk about this later. And she's like, no, what does it mean when they talk about? I was like, no. It means they'll talk about this later. And the sweet lady that she is, she's just like, I hope they don't ban it. And I was like, I don't think it's getting banned. And ever since it's been tabled, meaning they're going to talk about it again next month, ever since it's been tabled, I've heard more and more people say they think it's going to get banned. The tush push is going to be banned. And I just keep thinking, on what grounds? On what grounds do you ban the tush push? I've referenced many times the numbers. The Eagles, 82%, they're successful. The rest of the league, 69%. Nice. That's it. What everybody is implying is that the Philadelphia Eagles, are the only team that runs this play and has success. Other teams run this play or a variation of it, very close to, and they still have a good amount of success with it. So what are we talking about here? The three things that you hear is the Eagles are too dominant with it, no one else can run it. And I like that Jeffrey Lurie yesterday even pointed out, oh, well, we got a quarterback that can squat 600 pounds, but okay. So the Eagles run it better than anybody, so it should be banned. Well, that's dumb. It's not a football play. It looks like a rugby play. That doesn't even make any sense. Why are you comparing other sports when it's football and it clearly is a football play and other plays happen like that in the NFL? And I'll go again to the idea of anybody pushing a pile with the running back in the middle of it or a ball carrier in the middle of it. It's the same thing, except you're just creating the pile immediately. Number 3, people get hurt. No, they don't. I feel like you're having a really dumb argument with somebody that just knows nothing, and they just want to be angry for the sake of being angry. And they're like, it doesn't look like a football play. Well, it is a football play. Nobody else runs it as well as the Eagles. Well, the Bills run it pretty damn well, and the rest of the league still has a great success rate with it. Players get hurt. No, they don't. Shut up. Okay, thank you for the conversation. This is the NFL we're talking about here. This is the same league that just yesterday was like, hey, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't only use the chain gang when it comes to measuring first downs because, technology. You're smart enough for that, but you're dumb enough to make this argument. And the other part of it is, well, hold on. If this was such a bad play for any one of those 3 dumb reasons they're using that I just mentioned, if this is still that dumb play, then why don't you just vote on it now? Oh, because you haven't whipped up the votes yet. Work a little harder to look stupid. It's possible. You can still do it. What other things would you ban? I've mentioned this before, but I haven't gotten really great responses on it. I want to ask you guys, what else would you ban throughout the history of sports? Like the most dominant things. Like I went all the way back to the 60s. I was just like Sandy Koufax can't throw curveballs. Curveballs are out. No more curveballs. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's skyhook. No more skyhooks. Too dominant. Like what else? What are we talking about? Just stupid. Let's hear from those guys on it. Phillies are back in action tonight. Can't wait. 6:45. You know what really is helping? I think my man is Wine Niners Wine in the chat today. The first person. What's going on? Were you the first? Oh, you always talking about my passion for baseball. I think one of the reasons that I'm so excited about baseball is because the 76ers suck. They're so. I really don't like bleeding like one team into another. Like I don't like. Oh, look, the Phillies suck, so let's go Eagles. Or the Eagles are gonna have a bad year. Not gonna happen. The Sixers suck, but they go Phils. Or what's the thing is, the team's really bad. Pitchers and catchers report in 14 days, whatever. I don't like doing that. But I don't know how I couldn't do it this year with the Sixers. Watching, I don't know how. I don't think I missed many postcasts. If I did, it was for the Eagles games. But I've probably done at least 70 Sixers games this year, 75. Oh, my goodness. This is terrible basketball. And I'll say this. In a season of ugly losses, last night was hideous. It was hideous. The 76ers shot a season low 19.4% from beyond the arc. Their previous season low was an even 20 against the Raptors in early March, like March 7th or 9th, whatever it was. So 2 months, he can't hit threes. That was fun. That was a good time. That was just ugly. It was absolutely ugly. Now, but look, the name of the game is to lose. Keep the main thing. Keep losing. Keep sliding. They're now a game and a half behind the Pelicans, who play tonight against the Clippers. Let's go Pels. But, man, that was just a terrible game last night. It was just absolutely ugly, atrocious, awful, ugly. And congratulations that you didn't watch it. I'm going to take a guess that you didn't watch it, but it was terrible. But because they're so terrible, I look forward more so to the Phillies than usual for 2 reasons. One, again, the Sixers are terrible. 3. I like baseball. I love baseball. And then for the real number 3, is that this really feels like a make or break season for the Phils. So I will have this mentality throughout the early goings of the year when everyone's saying, oh, it's only 5 games, it's only 3 games, it's only 7 games, whatever. Yeah, maybe for the season, but with this cast of characters, it's like season number 4. That's what really gets me. Like, we've seen the play, and I've used the analogy, it feels like we're in the 4th act of the same play. So judging the play isn't about the first 3 games. It's not about the first 4 games, 5 games, 6 games, 10 games. It's about judging the leading cast of characters that you've had with this baseball team. That's what it feels like. So I'm a little less patient. And with being less patient, I'm going to be a little bit more excited when this team does something well. Like, have a rally in the 7th inning. Hit 3 home runs after the 6th inning. Edmundo Sosa comes off the bench to put you in front, get you your first runs of the game. That's going to be more exciting. I'm here for that. And the Phillies are back at it tonight. Zach Wheeler's back on the hill. Hopefully some more long balls go on at Citizens Bank Park tonight. Probably going to be a little chilly as the night goes on. The weather's going to be so fluctuating over the next week. They got like 75 or 71, 73, and like 52, 51. It's going to be all over the place. You know what I mean? But Phils are back at it tonight. Look forward to that. By the way, this is the Farzy Show presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Make sure you like and subscribe to the Farzy Show on YouTube. Make sure you like and subscribe to Jacob Media on YouTube, and make sure you like and subscribe to Locked On Phillies YouTube channel. My man Connor Thomas has you covered for your Locked On Phillies daily podcast. I have you covered for your Locked On Phillies postcasts after each and every game. So I look forward to that. A little vacation time coming up in the beginning of May. Going to be going back to Tennessee. Did the same thing last year. My nephew's down there, my wife's nephew, while we're being specific. And we're going to have a good time down there and party with the fam. You know what I mean? So I'll be away for a long weekend. Won't do Phil's games over the course of that. And the Sixers won't be in the playoffs, so I get off scot-free. All right, anyway, let's get into what was going on yesterday with being a little bit more specific. Nick Sirianni. This is the message you want to hear from your head coach after you win a Super Bowl.
And we'll get to a point, we're to a point now where the celebration is over, right? The celebration of the Super Bowl is over. And I know that there'll be people, I know BG and Saquon throughout the first pitch, and then we'll have our ring ceremony and all that. But our preparation is here. Celebration is over, preparation is here. And there's nothing like getting back in there and starting to work again. And because if you, with our team and the leaders that we have on this football team, if you're not busting your butt and giving everything you got, you'll be exposed.
He went on to say, go ahead and be lazy and not work hard in front of Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley. You're going to get called out for it. This is the attitude, and this is a repeating theme. Jalen Hurts at his locker on clean-out day after the Super Bowl talked about how it just makes him hungry to win another one. Talked about just getting back to work. Jalen Hurts, don't forget this because this will be through my head. This will be running through my head all offseason. Jalen Hurts talked about how he was behind the rest of the NFL quarterbacks because he didn't get into his offseason routine early enough because he was winning a Super Bowl. He's the only player I've ever heard talk about winning a Super Bowl as if it's a detriment. like this is the attitude. Nick Sirianni, all right, it's over. Now, I dare you not to work hard. Jeffrey Lurie, you'll hear from no, I don't think I have this cut, but Jeffrey Lurie yesterday said he is like, I want 2 Super Bowls? Great. Now I really want 3. If I could just have 3. It's never enough. I want more. Greed is good, right? Love hearing this from this team. This is the attitude throughout the offseason. I love it. Defensive leaders. Let's get to this. Defensive leaders. Mentioned this stuff earlier about Slay, what he had to say about who could be the leader. Did not include Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. A couple days later, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, bing, bang, boom, he's in Houston. So, defensive leaders. I always find it interesting, the first name, whenever they get asked a question about position groups, whenever they ask questions about leaderships or leadership, whatever, the first name that a coach, GM, owner would say, I always, that's the first person that comes to mind when you think about leadership on the defensive side of football. Listen to this.
I think we have a lot of different options. I think we have a lot of different options. I can't tell you again, how much I think of Nolan Smith and the toughness and the effort and the physicality that he brings. And, you know, he's comfortable talking a lot, that's for sure. You know, Coop comes to mind. Zach Bond comes to mind. Nakobe Dean comes to mind. Like, there's a lot of good options. Quinyon, Reed. I don't want to leave anybody out, but, like, you know, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, like, all these guys have the ability to do that. And then, you know, even last year, you know, Zach Bond
goes on to say Zach Bond, you know, certainly emerged as one of those guys that wasn't expected to be a leader, but absolutely became a leader as the season went on. And look, that's a lot of names right there. I could see it with Nolan Smith. And here's the reason why. And I've reminded people of this maybe too many times. I was out on Nolan Smith before last season. I was like, I don't expect anything from Nolan Smith. Nolan Smith struggled a little bit through the first 4 weeks of the season. They go to the bye week. I don't know. Just like the rest of the team, he just went to another level. And all of a sudden, he was winning at the line of scrimmage more and more with great regularity. I think fourth most out of any edge rusher in the NFL. And he was just becoming a dominant football player. And I was like, oh, look at this guy. How about this? All right, yeah, but prove me wrong, please. Not that that's his motivation, but it's what I'm begging for. Yeah, make me wrong. Anytime I say anything negative, I just hope I'm wrong. Because I don't want anybody to play bad, especially if you got that. Well, I don't want any Philadelphia jersey, anybody in a Philadelphia jersey to play that. But anyway, Nolan Smith goes out there, balls out after the bye week. Then, so he raises his game. Brandon Graham goes down. Boom. Nolan Smith raises his game again. How do you not follow that guy? Even if you're a more veteran player on this team, how do you not look at Nolan Smith and be like, okay, yeah, I'm going to listen to this guy? Look, we all know he's got the personality. I mean, the guy, as a rookie, he was already being compared to Brandon Graham in that regard. Oh, same smile, same outgoing personality. These guys never shut up. They're the same player, you know? Not quite yet, but I can see Nolan Smith filling in that role. Cooper DeJean. I don't look at Cooper DeJean as much of a talker, but apparently he's got some leadership qualities. Jalen Carter being talked about as a leader, that wasn't supposed to happen. Jalen Carter is supposed to be a guy that doesn't take his job seriously enough. I think he takes it seriously enough now. The transition of leadership, I find to always be a very interesting thing because when teams lose focus, they lose games. And one of the things I've always said about Nick Sirianni, even through the bad stuff, with the exception of the historic collapse 2 years ago. But when you look back now on the Super Bowl victory is the obvious thing, but the fact that this guy starts out 10-1 so often, the fact that this guy just rattled off a 10-game winning streak, the fact that they were just 16-1, including the playoffs, and the only game they lost again was a game that they didn't have Jalen Hurts for all but 11 snaps. The fact that this guy has this team pull focus so well every single week is amazing. Think about this. We debate, and we have debated whether or not Nick Sirianni is a great head coach. Well, let's put some evidence out there. And this has to do with grooming the next leader on this team. That has to do with grooming the next Super Bowl champion, Philadelphia Eagles team. Nick Sirianni developed a play that is so good, and not only so good, coached so well, and not only just had success with Kenny Pickett, or excuse me, had success with Jalen Hurts running the play, but also converted with Kenny Pickett, for crying out loud. And I don't think Kenny Pickett is squatting 600 pounds. Okay, you know what I'm saying? He has been to a Super Bowl with a different offensive coordinator and different defensive coordinator. He's been to 2 Super Bowls with 2 different groupings of those positions, or those coaching positions. He's been 10-1 3 different seasons. He's made the playoffs every year. He's been a head coach. He's been to 2 Super Bowls and won 1. Yeah, I'd say he's a great head coach. It's pretty amazing. But one of the things that he does best, maybe even better than just coaching the tush push, he just gets his team ready to play football. And one of the ways he does that is he finds great leaders on this team. Guys that already have seeds that are starting to bud, seeds that are starting to grow, and he finds a way to water them until they grow into these guys that could just run a team with you. Look, there was supposed to be turmoil between him and Jalen Hurts. See any hint of that this year? A lot of us laughed when they were riding around in a golf cart at training camp going into last season. Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes to smooth things over. Maybe the other thing that he does really well is listen. And I think that goes into the leadership group as well. Listening to your leaders. Closed door meetings, open door policy for closed door meetings, Come on in, close the door. I think that's a great attribute of a great head coach. And Nick Sirianni certainly has that. This was interesting to me as well. Yesterday, when Nick Sirianni was addressing the media, Kevin Patullo and Kellen Moore, apparently they were besties. So Nick Sirianni yesterday was asked about Kellen Moore leaving and Kevin Patullo coming in and taking over those responsibilities, how his responsibilities grow. And this is the direction Nick Sirianni took that answer.
Last year, Kellen didn't go anywhere without Kevin, and Kevin didn't go anywhere without Kellen. I was actually a little jealous of the relationship. I got iced out a little bit. And that's how Kevin was for Shane, and that's how Kevin was for Brian, and now it's Kevin's show. And really, when I talk about hunger too, I see it every single day in Kevin Patullo, him coming into my office and hey, we're gonna think about this, and he's so hungry and ready for this job. I'm just been so impressed by how he's handled it so far. Now his story is to be determined and has yet to be written, but. The hunger there, because it's now his turn and his name's on it, and it's his ideas, not just the collection of his ideas, which has been in the past, but his ideas with the collection of other guys and that are behind him.
Yeah, everyone's going to be putting their 2 cents into the jar, but now it's Kevin Patullo that is going to be probably dropping in a couple of quarters. Forget about a couple of cents in this regard as the offensive coordinator of the team. One question I haven't heard answer, though. One question I have not heard answered is, or even asked. The Eagles had Kevin Patullo on this staff when they brought Brian Johnson in as their offensive coordinator, or promoted Brian Johnson. He was a quarterback coach. He became the offensive coordinator. I know the easy thing to go there for most people is, Jalen Hurts really wanted Brian Johnson to be the offensive coordinator. All right, but I'd love to hear Nick Sirianni's answer for why now. Why is Kevin Patullo ready now, 2 years after you passed him over? And you gave him the, associate head coach? I don't think it was assistant head coach. I think it was associate head coach title. The question I'd love for Nick Sirianni to be asked is, hey, look, what's changed for Kellen Moore? What's changed for Kevin Patullo? Why is he ready to be an offensive coordinator now when you guys obviously had the option to do it 2 years ago? How has he gotten better? What has he improved at? Why now? That's the question I have. Now, in the same line as that, I still love the idea that Kellen Moore came in here as a 5-year offensive coordinator in the NFL with two different teams. We know mostly with the Cowboys, but came in here and Kevin Patullo was in his back pocket. Hey, that's how you learn. You stay with the people that have done the job, you watch them do it, and then you come away with your own variation of it, knowing already the personnel that you're going to be doing it with. So I loved hearing that because Kellen Moore has been a good offensive coordinator for a long time in the NFL. Won a Super Bowl with the Eagles, now a head coach, of course. But love the idea of Kevin Patullo just kind of learning from him and developing this offense as the season went on. Now it's time for the star of the show. The star of the show yesterday was Jeffrey Lurie. Jeffrey Lurie yesterday was not suffering fools. Not that there was many, but there was just a group of them going against the TUSH push, trying to push the TUSH push out of the NFL. Yesterday, Jeffrey Lurie went on at length. Here's about 90 seconds of Jeffrey Lurie defending the TUSH push and all those dumb people that want to ban it. I'm kidding, not dumb, but
the TUSH push, they probably will be discussing it in May, so we have to be prepared for every result. I think for everybody, including myself especially, health and safety is the most important thing when evaluating any play. We've been very open to whatever data exists on the TUSH push, and you know, there's just been no data that shows that it isn't a very, very safe play. If it weren't, we wouldn't be pushing the TUSH push. But I think it's, first of all, it's a precision play. It's very practiced. We devote a lot of resources to the TUSH push. We think we have an unusual use of personnel because we have a quarterback that can squat over 600 pounds and an offensive line that's filled with all-pro players. And that combination with incredible detailed coaching with Coach Stoutland has created a play we can be very successful at. There's other ways of gaining that half yard, that yard. There's quarterback sneaks, other types. But we've been very, very good at it. It's a play that's available to every other team in the league. And I think it hasn't been used more than 5 times by almost every team in the league. Buffalo is an exception.
I love everything that he said yesterday. Literally going back to the forward pass. Literally going back to saying, oh, well, the forward pass was weird, and people thought that was weird, and now it's great. Now it's kind of how we play football. The rugby play argument, I never understood. Like, do people watch rugby? I don't think people that say that watch rugby. I think they've seen a 5-second clip of rugby. Let me tell you something about rugby, okay? I've covered rugby, okay? Collegiate rugby sevens. I know all the rugby people are like, sevens isn't real rugby. Whatever. You're still scrumming. Smaller, faster dudes, not the big burly dudes like Jordan Mailata playing rugby back in the day. But, and he, by the way, he's even said, the rugby player himself has even said, not a rugby play. So, anyway, everything that Jeffrey Lurie got into yesterday was just so on point. You just really got the sense that, like, they talk about this a lot behind the scenes. And they should, because it's a play that they do better than anybody. I would think it was more than, 17% better than anybody else? But apparently it's not. Again, they give the impression the Eagles are the only team that does it. Oh, well, the Bills do it too. Well, not like the Eagles, but they do it similar. They do it like the Bills, but more than the Bills, and they're better than the Bills. Well, no, actually, wait, I'm sorry. The Bills ran it 26 times compared to the Eagles 39 times. The Bills, 88% success rate. Eagles, 82% success rate, where they got a touchdown or a first down. And then all other teams, 69%. So 13%. Eagles run it better by a 13% clip, more so than anybody in the NFL. And that's what we're talking about? And you want to argue safety when there's no injuries? Like, I think another thing is people want to talk about injuries. It was Chris Sims 2 years ago going into the season that was like, you got to ban the tush push because if I'm playing out on defense, I'm just going to be headhunting. Well, Frankie Louvu tried to do that. He jumped over the line multiple times to no avail, to the point where the Eagles were just toying with him. Jeez, easy for me to get the words out. Toying with the man. It's so dumb trying to ban the thing that the Eagles are really good at. And then finally, when it comes to Jeffrey Lurie yesterday, the question from Bob Brookover, the Inquirer, was a question that a lot of us have kicked around so far in the offseason, which is, you guys have taken a step back this year. Like, you go into the offseason, you lose Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, you lose Mekhi Becton, you lose Josh Sweat, you lose Milton Williams, you don't have Darius Slay. Like, what are you doing? What's going on? This season's going to be terrible. No, he didn't go down that road, but he's just like, you guys are obviously not as good as you were. So how do you approach that as the owner? And I think most people will love the answer from Jeffrey Lurie.
Has there been a better NFL team than the 24 Eagles? I don't know. I'd much rather say that. I'm very proud of that. I think we had an incredible roster. I think we'll still go into the next season with a superb roster. We didn't talk last February about Zach Bond and Moro Ajomo, and the list goes on and on and on of Becton and guys like that. I mean, where we stand now, March 31st or whatever, there's no games for 5 months. The strategy of bringing in some players that have potentially great skills and great ability with our coaching staff and our culture to maximize their ability. I don't think we talked much about Zach Bond last year. So we hope to have a few of those amongst all the signees, and 5 months to go. So there's a lot with Howie, trust me, and I think every day is an excursion in terms of what could be.
That's so true. The mindset is we got a long way to go. I remember in my sports talk radio days, the excuse for asking that type of question was, well, we have to do a show today, and are the Eagles good enough today? Well, what's the assumption? And I'm not excluding myself, by the way. I did that show once or twice too. But the expectation is that you get at least average players, not horrendous players to fill those voids, to fill those positions. So are the Eagles a better football team than they are right now, assuming that they fill those voids with at least decent, average to decent players? When you have Howie Roseman, a guy that's put together the deepest team in the history of the NFL that won a Super Bowl in 2017, 2018, and then was back in the Super Bowl 5 years later with another head coach and another quarterback, and then 2 years later was back in the Super Bowl with the same head coach and the same quarterback, and he actually won. Yeah, I think you have confidence that you're going to build a pretty damn good roster. So I look at it as, and Nick Sirianni highlighted this yesterday. I don't think I mentioned this. I'm going to run through all the stuff that he talked about that I haven't gotten into yet. But one of the things he did talk about was, a lot of one-year deals. Sure, but that worked out last year. The only issue is that the guys that he talked about signing those one-year deals are no longer here, other than Zach Bond. So the idea would be to keep those guys around, not just one-year deal. All right, see you, thanks. But you can only have so many Zach Bonds. One, you won the lottery. Two, Zach Bond then won the lottery, more literally speaking. And then the rest left. It's like it worked out with Isaiah Rodgers. Gone. It worked out with Mekhi Becton. Gone. Help. Whoever you bring in next, play to that level. It's almost the belief of, well, we have set a standard of play here with our coaching. We believe Jeff Stoutland can have success with just about anybody you put on that offensive line. And Tyler Steen has been good. The 4-0 when Tyler Steen starts games. And then Vic Fangio's scheme. It's a dangerous road. But after a blowout Super Bowl victory, it's hard to convince me that it's as dangerous as it has been. I'm going to use a Nick Sirianni line here. A wise man avoids all extremes. Well, I remember a guy named Chip Kelly saying, well, the scheme's great, so we just put whoever in the scheme, and I'm so brilliant. It's not in that same regard. Again, that's the extreme. But with this Eagles team and their track record, you certainly get the idea that, oh, yeah, no, they got this. It is partially, if not the scheme, it's the culture. And then on top of that, you got a stacked offense that I think you could afford to have some mistakes defensively speaking, because you're going to put up points. You're going to put up points. And, yeah, I do have confidence in Tyler Steen. And if not Tyler Steen, Ken Green. I got confidence in Jeff Stoutland putting together a offensive line that is going to dominate in the upcoming season. So that's what I look forward to. As far as some other things kicked around yesterday, I'll keep it on Jeffrey Lurie because that's where I'm at. Thanking everybody, talking about how great the parade was. Tush push, health and safety, precision play, safe. Compared it to RPOs as far as like a trend. Like, hey, you gotta go with the ebbs and flows of the game. RPOs, still using them. Use them a lot more with Nick Foles. Use them a lot, obviously, with Jalen Hurts. Not as much. Even used it with Not as much either with Carson Wentz, but you went with the ebbs and flows of it, and then most notably with that Chip Kelly fellow I mentioned a minute ago. Forward pass was weird. I absolutely thought was hilarious. Talked about team building. Always makes you have a surplus in talent and money. I trust Howie. Re-sign your young players is obviously a thing, a big deal. Nick is going to be our coach going forward. Mentioned the 16-1 record after the bye week, including the playoffs, embodies everything you want in a coach. Shouted out Brandon Graham. Got asked about Brandon Graham, and then he talked about him at length, how great he is. They haven't gone on that dinner yet. They haven't been to dinner yet. Has it been? He clarified later. Zach Berman, I think it was, followed up on the question about that he responded with by saying, "Has there been a better team?" And Zach Berman said, "Well, it seems like I just want to clarify. You think the Eagles are the greatest team that ever happened?" He's like, "I didn't say that. I didn't say that." Again, context. He was saying in reference to how do you be better? How are you as good as you were when you walked off the field? It's like, well, it's hard to be better than that. You won 16-1 to end the season. You had a 10-game winning streak. You won the Super Bowl in a blowout fashion against a team hunting a dynasty. It's hard to be better than that. And he's right. And I hate to say this because you always want to believe that there's something better in front of them. And the Eagles could certainly win the Super Bowl again next year. I have every bit of confidence that they could do that again next year. But to win another Super Bowl by blowout, that's going to be pretty amazing. That's going to be hard to top. Says we have the best GM in football and Howie Roseman. He said the question, which was your favorite Super Bowl? And he goes, essentially the next one. Like, I forget who it was. Was it Mean Joe Green? I forget who said it. Hey, which one's your favorite Super Bowl? And he said the next one. Yeah. It's like the Steve Young line. Who's your favorite wide receiver? The open one, or the one that's open. As far as Nick Sirianni, didn't talk about the contract. Talked about how we're in a situation right now where we're just finding out what players do well. Talked about Scott, the new the new quarterbacks coach, lobbying coaches on the TUSH push. Very interesting in how he talked about the evolution of the TUSH push. If you want to go back and watch that, it's about the 6-minute mark of his press conference. Talked about Bart Starr running a version of the TUSH push. Keely Ringo's improvement. He wants Dallas Goedert back. Didn't really talk about the contract. We're still, I think pretty much hit everything I wanted to hit on Nick Sirianni. Yeah. Hey, let me tell you about the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code Farzy. Get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. Want to go to the game, the concert, the comedy show? Game Time app has you covered. So download the app, create an account, use promo code Farzy, get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. How about PHL Sports Nation? Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's PHLSportsNation.com. How about Brett over at Sky Motorcars? Check out Brett's amazing inventory at SkyMotorcars.com. Let's get into the chat check. Wine Niners Wine, hello. Anthony Allen, hello. Kevin, what's going on? William, Sean Gillespie, Sean Kilrain. William, Annabelle says it needs more data as far as a brotherly shove. What more data do these clowns want? They just want more time. I'm telling you, if you ever watch that show, House of Cards, right, where they're whipping up votes in the Congress or whatever the hell they were doing, I don't know. That's what they're doing right now. They're whipping up votes. Packers head coach Matt LaFleur on the tush push. I don't think it's a great football play. It's more of a rugby play. They hate us because they ain't us. Sean Kilrain, you're absolutely correct. It's dumb. NFL updating its uniform policy. Oh, yeah, Eagles can wear the Kelly Green. Thank you. Eagles can wear the Kelly Green 4 times per season. Please do. I love it. It's so weird. I don't know why. It's nostalgia. I thought about this recently because there's the rumor of the 76ers bringing back the Allen Iverson cutoff jerseys. I remember when they came out, I didn't like them, and then I loved them. And then I was like, I really want the Sixers to go back to that old school logo. And then they've had the old school logo for 15 years, it feels like. I think it was Ed Stefanski was the GM when they brought it back. And I was like, oh, that's great. And now they had the Maxey jersey with the cutoff that they gave him when he signed his rookie extension. And I went, kind of want to see that again. So, yeah, but it's weird because the Kelly Green jersey, they didn't win anything. Well, they won back-to-back NFL championships in 48, 49, then a championship in 60, and then nothing after that. They've won 2 Super Bowls in the Midnight Green, and we're still like, yeah, it's great. Get rid of it. I want Kelly Green. I blame the Irish. No, I'm kidding. Anthony Allen, when the NFL owner and head coach are complaining about the tush push, they're letting the world know that their team is soft. Oh, I agree. Stop embarrassing your team. I love it. Talking about other teams. William Stark, my Lotta already commented. It's not a thank you, William Stark. Absolutely. Jordan Mailata is like, yeah, it's not a rugby play, mate. I don't know. Green Bay Lackers, love it. Embarrassing themselves with this nonsense, right? Pin 9617, hello. April, hello. Is it being played during a football game? Then it's football. Then it's a football play. That argument is beyond stupid. I concur. Brian Pumper, what's going on? Goodell didn't like the play. That's why the tush push was cooked. But Goodell went on Kelsey's show, and Bo Allen even asked him. I don't think we're going to plan on stopping that play. I don't think that's really a focus. If it gets banned after all the BS, the Jordan level break. Yeah, I'm not going to. Thank you, Muffin Man. Appreciate you. Ban the three-pointers in the NBA. So, oh, there you go. Ban the three-pointers in the NBA. Why Niners wine? You always have the Union, the Wings, and Phoenix. Phoenix are the Frisbee team, right? Ultimate Frisbee team? I believe so. Ratchet Boy TV, the only rugby player Jordan Mailata said it's not a rugby play. Thank you. Brandon Howard, 31 fan base is crying to get it banned. Jeremy, good morning. Tush push. I do think it will get banned, if not this year, next year. No big deal. 2024 was one of the best offensive lines in our lifetime. Rivaling the 90s Dallas Cowboys line. Yeah, and stout we trust. I like that. Thank you, Jeremy. Yeah, I will be dumbfounded if this gets banned. Because every argument they've presented doesn't hold any water. Like, there's nothing there. Like, I went through it earlier, but if you're just joining us, it's like, it's not safe. No one's been hurt. I don't like how it looks. So what? The forward pass was weird. RPOs look kind of weird. So what? I forget my other point on that one. But, the Eagles run it. The Eagles are the only team that convert on it. Eagles were successful 82% of the time. The rest of the NFL, not including the Bills, 69% of the time. Are we really talking about a 13% differential here? That's what we're talking about here? That's what's so terrible? Everyone makes it seem like Eagles 100%, NFL 0. So what are we doing here? Besides sounding stupid. Twiz, what's going on? Rodney, what's up, man? Dallas Goedert got traded to the Panthers? That's an early trade. I don't think so. I haven't seen anything come up on that. I'll do a quick thingamajig. April Fool's was yesterday, right? Nothing from Shefty. So that, yeah, nah. All right. Let's see here. Yeah, Dallas Goedert not traded. Let me get that off the screen there. By the way, April Fools, can we stop doing April Fools jokes like forever on the internet? Like, enough stupid stuff gets put up that's posted that is somewhat unbelievable, but it's true. And I feel like the only April Fool's jokes that should be permitted. We can't even do this anymore. That's right. You put chalk in the erasers at school. Yeah, I know. I'm a badass. I'm a loner, Dottie. I'm a rebel. Buddy Christ, good morning. Thank you. So yeah, I don't like the jokes on the internet. The one that I do like is when it says see more and you hit see more and it's just like, oh, isn't this coming up? That's funny. But like putting stuff out there that's not believable. Like what was yesterday for the owners meetings? They talked about how the overtime rules are changing. Both teams will get a possession. That I was like, okay, this shouldn't be on April Fools. The other one was the first downs are going to be measured electronically and not with the chain gang. The chain gang's still going to be there as a backup. And I'm like, I can't believe any of this. Like, I literally have to click on all these stories and read them, make sure the person's name is right, make sure the site is right. I'm like, okay, this is legit. By the way, those are two things that are happening in the new rules. Elaine, what's going on? Is the NFL afraid? If the NFL was afraid of every illegal play, then you should play flag football. Thank you. Thank you. Brandon Howard, hello again. Player safety isn't the angle to try and ban it. Just say it's about keeping the game more exciting. Yeah. But again, if 69% of the time the rest of the NFL runs it and has success, and the Eagles run it 82% or run it with success at 82% of the time, then like that to me it's not 100. It's not an extra point. You know what I mean? It's not an extra point. That's almost guaranteed. So they had to move it back. Sean Kilrain, how dare you blame the Irish? Right? There's a lot of Irish people. I feel like I'm the only mutt in Pennsylvania that is I don't need to go on the whole thing, but I'm not at all Irish. As a matter of fact, my wife found out like 2 years ago. So we were already married. She found out that she was a little bit Irish. She had like a great grandmother that was like from Ireland. And I'm just like, I didn't know this is what I didn't sign up for this. We'd already been married 4 years. I'm like, I didn't sign up for this. I didn't know I was marrying an Irish. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I love the Irish. I always say, eat with the Italians, drink with the Irish. Those are my rules in life. But the D and good rules to follow. April. There you go. No more April Fool's jokes. Appreciate you. Thanks, everybody in the chat. You guys are great, as per usual. Let's get to the morning rush. Brought to you by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. Phillies back at tonight, 6:45 start time. Zach Wheeler on the hill for your Philadelphia Phillies. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. It's the Farsi Show presented by MyBookie, MyBookie.ag. I will catch you guys tonight on Locked On Sports Phillies YouTube channel, breaking down the Phillies, hopefully win over the Colorado Rockies tonight. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's pretty dope.
Thank you, Nick. I know it is. Catch you guys tomorrow. Stay tuned for Birds 365.